Hello, welcome to my channel, another Bibliophile Reads. My name is Greg, and I want to talk about a book that I have recently read. It is Heartshot, a Posadas County mystery by Stephen F. Havill, originally published in 1991. It is 227 pages long in print edition, but I read it on my Kindle. This book was recommended to me in a comment section on one of my other videos from a viewer. He thought I might like it. So what I do when people comment on my videos and they say I should read a book, I put it on my Kindle watch list for price drops. And this book was originally around $9.99, and it became available on Kindle Unlimited. If you are unaware of Kindle Unlimited, that is a subscription service for Kindle users where any book on that unlimited service is free. So, I downloaded it and I started reading it because I am in the middle of horror mayhem, reading a lot of horror books, and I just wanted a break from reading horror. And this was a nice little interlude. So thank you very much to my commenter for recommending this book to me. It is set in New Mexico. It is set around the 1990s, and it is not really a small town in Mexico, maybe a small little city. I'm not that familiar with New Mexico geography, so I cannot say. It is close to the border with Mexico. And one night, a car full of teens, 5 of them, have a tragic accident, and all of them are killed. Apparently, they were running away from a police officer who had his flashers on. Now, according to this book, in this area of New Mexico at this time, teenagers trying to outrun cops is just a thing teenagers do. It's not a big deal unless they do it a lot. But in this case, the teen slammed on the brakes or something like that, flipped the car, and everyone in the car died. 5 dead teens. That was not a big enough tragedy when they're pulling the bodies out of the wreck. A kilo of cocaine is discovered, and it becomes quite obvious that teenagers really should not be having a kilo of cocaine worth, at the time, about $150,000, if I'm remembering correctly. So, of course, the police get involved. There is a undersheriff. His name is Bill Gassner. And he has, let me say, go back. He's 59 years old or 60 years old, something around the age area. Really, my age. So I kind of appreciate reading a story from a man my age, because normally when you read these police procedurals, detectives tend to be a lot younger. And he's an older man like me. He's got more health issues than I do. I'm fortunate in that way. But he's in charge of this investigation to discover why there was a kilo of cocaine with these dead teenagers. And he's helped by a younger detective named Estella. She is a young female detective. And she's sort of his legs, as it were. So you go about this, and it all starts slowly fitting together. And you start learning from Bill that there have been at least one other teenage death from an overdose of drugs. And this town is small enough that they don't expect to be a lot of drug deaths in their town. Maybe it's just a 90s thing. So slowly it becomes aware that there were other things going on, because one of the parents of the dead teens bought a gun. And the owner of the gun shop goes to the Bill and says, Bill, normally I don't talk a lot about this on people who buy guns in my shop, but this parent of this dead teen came in and bought this fancy pistol. Quite unusual for this man. I thought I would just tell you that. Well, of course, Bill is rather concerned. He's believing that this parent may be out for a little extracurricular retribution. So he tracks down the man. He's sitting in his car in a part of the New Mexico desert that doesn't usually get a lot of human traffic. And he's talking to the parent, and he's convincing the parent, we don't want people going out on their own trying to solve these crimes by themselves. And the parent goes, oh yeah, I agree. And he offers him the pistol back. He says, nope, I'm not going to take that pistol. You take it back and sell it back to the gun shop. The owner will buy it back. A little bit of backtracking on the story. It is becoming evident that teenagers may be involved in this drug trafficking. So they get a very young looking police officer from a neighboring city to start infiltrating the teenage scene to see if he can find out anything about this drug use. Well, the next day, or was it that morning, Bill gets a phone call. The parent, who he did not take the gun from, is dead in a diner. And the undercover police officer has also been shot. Apparently they had a gunfight. And that's where I'll leave the story off. It is an easy read. It is not a complicated police procedural mystery. There are some really rather obvious points in the plot when you're reading along, and I'm going, oh, you mentioned that? Yeah, I understand why you mentioned that. It's going to have consequences later in the story. And I realize that it's a clue to what one of the other characters is doing. It could have been done with a little more finesse. I believe this is, well, it's the first book in this series. I'm not positive if it is the author's first book or not. But it's not necessarily a bad thing to give readers clues so they're following along with the plot and saying they can pinpoint a character. You can have your suspicions about this character and see if those suspicions come true. And again, I just enjoyed it. It will never be a top tier mystery novel for me, but it was free on Kindle Unlimited this month, and it was a welcome break from reading horror. Will I read other books in this series? Probably so. At least the second and third books in this series are available on Kindle Unlimited at this time. Of course, Kindle Unlimited titles can come and go. So I do want to pick up the second book in this series because I enjoyed the first one enough to read others. And if you're looking for just an easygoing, rather pleasant police procedural mystery, this might fit the bill. It's not extremely graphic at all. It's really rather tame, although there are a few people who die from gunshots. Well, anyway, thank you for watching, and keep on reading.